Hi, my name is Carol Marock with SeniorCare.com. Welcome to Aging Matters. Today's guest is my friend Anthony Cirillo. He is president of the Aging Experience. He helps healthcare organizations craft experiences and seize opportunities for the mature marketplace. He helps family caregivers thrive and individuals make educated aging decisions. Anthony is also a consultant and professional speaker. Welcome, Anthony.
Thanks for having me, Carol. It's my pleasure to be with you.
It's so good to meet you face to face, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, I've read just recently, as a matter of fact, that family leave in the workplace has decreased 8% from the years '07 to 2011. So I'm curious to know, why have companies cut back in offering elder care referral services and paid family leave?
Yes, and also, just the voluntary benefits to go around, caregiving issues as well. Part of it, I think, is pure finances. I mean, let's face it, just as health companies are trying to get out of the healthcare business, right? And because that started in a model after the war to attract people to come into the workplace. Well, now employers are trying to really see, can we get people to go, if they even remain anymore, these exchanges that are out there. So because they're finding the cost of the healthcare, the experience of their workforce in terms of using the healthcare system is big. And so they have a lot of costs just in the upfront healthcare, let alone getting into these voluntary pieces of family leave and other types of voluntary benefits, offering long-term care insurance and whatnot. So I think part of it is finances, part of it is culture. I don't think they realize the bigger picture, that when you retain a caregiver who is productive, even though they may have a crazy schedule or not be at work all the time, the cost to replace a good employee is high. And we still have that stigma in the workforce around caregivers, yet millennials make up 25% of those in the caregiving, who are in the workforce. So I would point to a group, it's called react.org. It stands for Respect the Caregiver's Time. And there's companies like the Cleveland Clinic and Pfizer and others who basically have said, we're going to recognize the caregiver in the workforce. And it's not going to be something where if you come out of the closet, so to speak, you're going to be stigmatized. We're going to work with you. And, we're seeing some companies get a lot more generous in family leave, but we're also seeing in a culture, family leave is more in the context of somebody has a baby and they want to go out on leave. It's less about elder issues. Mm-hmm. But we find with companies like this React that they're starting to, even if it's just small things like offering space for employees to meet and giving them access to printing materials or things like that, they're starting to recognize that this is probably the biggest societal issue we're going to be having for a long time to come.
That's very true. I was a family caregiver and working full time, so I know some of the issues that unfortunately family members face. It's very difficult, I know, to focus at work when you know that your parent is at home needing care. So with that in mind, what do you recommend to the caregivers who do work full time and also have the responsibility of caring or overseeing the care of an aging relative? What can they do to remain productive at work and also support an aging parent?
Well, obviously, to be productive at work and stay at work longer, they need to get help. And some of that help comes in pre-planning. And that idea is, how do you prepare for your aging sooner? So whether it's themselves or their loved ones, buying long-term care insurance when they're younger, when the premiums are cheaper, so that when the time comes where maybe you need a home health aide, you can afford it. It's still fairly affordable to do that versus assisted living or going to a nursing home. But if you pre-plan some of these things and have conversations around them, I think it makes it a lot easier. I do believe in the workplace that caregivers really need to kind of find the other family caregivers in the workplace and kind of form an informal support group with them, who can then maybe lobby the employer about the issue and how maybe pervasive it is in the workplace that they maybe did not know about it. I think the other thing, and I faced this earlier, actually over the holidays with my kids and my former mother-in-law who was hospitalized, but they spent the longest time trying to get in-home health care for her. And a lot of it was more of a mindset on her that, she didn't want somebody coming in her house, invading her space. And I think the more you have those conversations that, help is not just help for you, it's help for me as the caregiver, the better you're going to be. And then, I always encourage people to reach out to their own communities and to sites like Lots of Helping Hands, where you can go on and form a community. Did this with my mother when she was in Florida, when my sister got sick. And we basically put a call out, here's mom's schedule. We can't be here all the time because we're up in Charlotte. And, within a half a day, her whole schedule was filled with people who would reach out and take her to the appointments she needed. So there are tools that can automate some of this stuff. There are conversations that can happen earlier around these things. And obviously there's things we need to do in the workplace to make this more acceptable.
Yeah, I agree. I especially enjoy hearing the one tip about forming a support group at work, because that's one of the things that I kind of led, because there were so many of us in my workplace doing the same thing. So thank you, Anthony. I appreciate you being with us today.
Always a pleasure to work with you, Carol.
And audience, if you find our tips helpful, please share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.